Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. With Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
You're tuned in to Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast, the AEW edition with the Heartbreak Dude, Denton, and Ryan enjoys wrestling. It was another good week of AEW. We had a Collision, and then we had a 3-hour, just kidding, it was a 2-hour Dynamite closed out by Rampage, which we'll get into. But a lot of stuff happened. You ready to break it down? We're going to go through Collision, talk about Rampage, go through a promo, and Dynamite. So Dynamite's promo, and then through Rampage. Yeah. So, you ready to get this party started?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get right into it.
Let's go. All right, AEW.
I was just going to say, there's no real news or anything. So
no, we're not going over this fake news. Yeah, we don't talk about those kind of people. All right, Collision. Are you ready? Recap, and here we go. The show opens with the dream match between Bryan Danielson and Shibata. Danielson wins. Julia Hart defeats Trish Adora to defend her title. Zach Knight and Angelo Parker will fight one day. Daniel Garcia defeats Lee Moriarty. Pac defeats Aaron Solo. Pac states he's looking for trouble after the match. Bryan Danielson is grateful for Will Ospreay and for Shibata. Claudio and Lance Archer end in a DQ when the Righteous jump Claudio. After the match, Bryan Danielson tries to make the save, and then Shibata actually makes the save. Angelo Parker wants Zach Knight tonight, so he's going to look for him, but Soho talks him out of it. Kyle O'Reilly, I think is him, or somebody who used to be Kyle O'Reilly, defeats Brian Keith. The Infantry defeat the House of Black and stuff that might have been news to qualify for the tag team title tournament. And we get Adam Copeland closing the show to introduce us to Spike, a weapon he plans on using on Christian at Dynamite. And that's the Collision recap. What do you want to bring up, brother?
Okay, let's talk about House of Black. Let's just get into it.
Let's do it.
What are we doing? Why are they losing? I feel like it's the same song, different dance with AEW every other week with Tony Khan and his booking of House of Black. Now I know there's rumors out there that they don't want a job and Malachi Black doesn't want to take pins and Buddy Murphy is doing whatever. I don't know if I buy into all that, but I don't know. I just, them not being in this tag team title tournament makes zero sense. And no disrespect, but who the hell is the Infantry?
Infantry?
I mean, yeah, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know. Like AEW hasn't built them. They might be a Ring of Honor tag team.
I think they are. Yeah, they appeared last week or a couple weeks ago or whatever.
But like over House of Black, I mean, I don't know. Like this. Yeah, that's my problem with AEW right now is just they push all these guys and then these guys just competed with FTR in a steel cage match not like 2 weeks ago, and it was a fantastic match, and now they're losing to the Infantry in a wild card match. It wasn't even an opening round of the tournament. It was a qualify, and it makes no sense, and I don't understand why they did it.
The House of Black are the former Trios champs, the biggest faction in wrestling and AEW, better than BCC, I believe. They've been around
better
longer.
Than the Undisputed Kingdom.
100%. They are super scary, and they have one of the hottest women in the world, Julia Hart, out here doing her damn thing as a TBS champion and spooky AF as well. They got the best entrance, everything.
Yeah,
and this is what we're doing with them. If you want to promote Infantry, do it. Have them beat somebody else when we walk out. But why the heck? Or like you said, I know you made a joke about how there's going to be 64 teams, but why don't you add, like, why were there only 8 teams with wild, like, I don't even want to get started on this tag team tournament because I know I crap on AEW all the time, but they left out this was basically we want the Young Bucks tournament to win. That's basically what it was. Mm-hmm. So if we put too many big people they ain't gonna win it. But the fact that, like, I don't know, the House of Black not being in this was offensive as it is. So, and so was this match. I thought it was weird that they thought they'd bring Zach Knight and Saraya and all them now to Collision. That was a first, right? Haven't they been exclusive to Rampage?
Yeah.
We just praised them for that, and then they were on here. I thought it was weird stuff, though. They had 2 hours to kind of go with it, and I feel like it was like too much. Like Zach Knight wanting blah, 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 and then Angelo Parker was there, then he was wanting some, and then Soho was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, don't do it. Aren't you guys leading to a match? It was very, very confusing stuff. And I thought this was kind of like a random putting together people once again, right? Like, we're filling up space here with Lance Archer against Claudio and the Righteous coming out. And what do,
Yeah.
huh? I didn't get it. And the introducing of Spike was kind of bizarre. That he name dropped Mick Foley, name dropped, all these other people that had weapons in their lives, and that's where he got the inspiration for Spike. It was all
Yeah.
right. He had a good. It was fire from Adam Copeland, right? I mean, he delivered some oomph to it. It wasn't a delivery.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I don't know. Like, when I see these kind of weapons once again, and we'll get into it on the match on Dynamite, but is he going to murder him? So why do we have Spike? Like, come on, like, in realness, like, we have to treat wrestling as real, right? I know it's scripted, it's entertainment, but there has to be a realness to what was he going to do with that weapon? If that weapon hits him in any part of his body, he's dead. Am I wrong?
No.
Like, those literally nails coming out of, like, the nails were like this long. Like, what is? I'm just, these kind of things lose me. This is what loses me. Like in ECW back in the days, we weren't really thinking it was legit. We know wrestling is scripted now. It's legit. You got to, like, I don't know. I don't know. That kind of stuff throws me off. And we'll get into it. It was a good spot, but still, it's throws me off.
I just didn't like all the, like, I don't know. I find it, like, if you're not a deranged character like Mick Foley, like, Adam Copeland seems to have his head on straight, and he seems to be like a normal guy. So I always find it weird.
Yeah.
I always find it weird when they, like, talk about weapons as if they're animals or people. And he was like, Spike is hungry, and Spike wants to take a bite out of you, and Spike wants to, Spike and I are going to take away your pride and make you say those 2 words, and those 2 words are like I don't know. I just find it weird when, like, to me, I might find it more believable if it's somebody like Mick Foley doing it, or Joe Gacy doing it on NXT, or somebody a little bit more deranged, or even like even House of Black, if they're doing it. I believe it then. But Adam Copeland, a man who calls himself the rated R superstar, who wears, skinny jeans and sneakers to the ring, like, I'm supposed to, I don't know. I just find it weird when they do that. And that's any wrestler, like, that's kind of normal, quote unquote normal.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. See if we're going to upset people or not. Opening match. It was the talk of the town. People say it's pro wrestling. People say it's not pro wrestling. People say you don't know what pro wrestling is. Other people say you don't know what it is. People say this. People say that. People say it was a dream match. Let's hear your take. I'll give mine. What is your?
It was fine. I had no problem with it. It was a good match up until they did the patty cake, baker's man, slap each other in the face as hard as you can in the middle of the ring.
Nice.
Yeah, I threw that. I just did that. But like, it was fine up until then. And then I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I get that might be what they do in New Japan. That might be what Shibata does. That might be something but to me, like, that's not wrestling. And I was fine with everything else in the match. I thought everything else was great until that, and that just kind of soured it for me. So it was, I give that match a C+, and it would have been an A- if it wasn't for that spot.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm sick of people, like, once again, if you're going to defend it that hardcore, like people do with Eddie Kingston and such, then you're doing it on purpose. 2 people purposely sitting down and then slapping each other back and forth. People are like, I've seen people on the internet, well, I guess you've never been in a real fight. Well, I have, and I've seen real fights.
They don't,
and you don't take turns slapping each other. No, it's stupid. And here's the thing. I get it. In Mexico, wrestling's different. In Japan, wrestling's different. But we're not in Japan, and we're not in Mexico. We're in America, so we have American wrestling. Now,
America.
do I think? But I'm not saying it like that. But I
Yeah,
did come off
right.
like that. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, like, if you take American wrestling, WWE, and you go to Mexico, it probably won't work, right? I mean, it might, because they might know some of the names, but they probably don't dig it as much. They won't enjoy it as much as they do their luchadors, because that's what their wrestling is. So stop trying to bring, Tony Khan, Japan wrestling and Japan style wrestling to America. It's not working. If that's what they do, is that, like, my thing is that I've said this numerous times. When the UFC got big, it hurt wrestling, because then people realized how fake wrestling was. Submissions changed in wrestling, did they not? Wrestlers now do chokeholds, arm bars. They didn't used to do that shit before. That was so fake. Now they start trying to do realer things. So you're going to tell me that's real fighting? You're going to tell me that's real wrestling? For one, I've been watching wrestling longer than any idiot on the internet. Been watching it for 40 years now. I've never seen wrestling like that. So no, that's not real wrestling. So shut up with that. That's not how it works. Secondly, I've been watching MMA since UFC 1. I have never seen a fight where they both sit down and start slapping each other in the face. So no, it's not. So let's just say, right? And I saw them comparing it to an NXT match where they were chopping each other. That's way different. And not only that, but the chops in WWE, they sell them. And if they don't, I'll make fun of it as well. You have to sell your matches. And I thought Bryan Danielson and Shibata had a really, really, really good match. And then it got stupid. And that's just what I'll say about that. But I'm just tired of these AEW hardcores who are like, this is what it is, and this is pro wrestling, and this. But stop saying it's pro wrestling, because it's not. That's not pro wrestling. No, go back to the 70s when pro wrestling was, kind of getting started, and in the 80s and the 90s. Is that what you saw? Because that's what we're doing. That's pro wrestling. So stop saying it's pro wrestling. It's not. It's not. It could be a New Japan type of thing, in Japan style wrestling. Sure, so it'll work in Japan. But here, that's just not what we're doing. And we need to sell more. It's okay to be hurt. In real fights, you get hurt. Fighters get hurt. They don't just get punched in the face and shake it off. You know what I mean? So let's do that a little bit more, AEW. Bryan Danielson's better than that. And I better not get that match with him and Ospreay being a no-sell-a-thon. That's all I'm saying. If I get that, I'm going to be upset. All right, you ready for...
I have a feeling you're going to be upset.
Fantastic. All right, you ready for Dynamite?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. Dynamite, and the show opens up with Mercedes Moné, who says she's happy to be in AEW. She shows a highlight reel of herself that she technically states that she made. Julia Hart and Skye Blue attack her, and Willow and Statlander make the save. Willow is holding a chair, and Moné stares each other down. The Young Bucks decide that they're going to watch the next match in Gorilla with Tony Khan for whatever freaking reason. And one of the dumbest things I've seen on wrestling in a long time. Okada then defeats Kingston to win the Continental title, and one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Pac stares Okada after the match. Swerve says Joe is scared of him, and he has an open challenge. Willow and Statlander are ready for their Rampage main event when Mercedes interrupts and is rude to Willow and leaves. Hook defeats Chris Jericho in probably one of the worst matches Chris Jericho has ever had. Adam Cole says he's upset that Wardlow lost his title. Now it's his job to keep all the gold in the Undisputed Kingdom, and he does it while sitting in a chair. Jericho says next week he has a proposition for Hook. Hey. All right. Will he's going to get in trouble again. Will Ospreay out for a promo where he discusses Danielson's small feet, and next week he wants to face Shibata to show Bryan Danielson how it's done. Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa defeat Storm and May. Swerve Strickland defeats the Butcher in a match that nobody wanted. Swerve has a chain and tells Joe he will choke him with it. Joe interrupts and says he will beat him like he did at Revolution. And out comes Don Callis for whatever reason. And we have Takeshita versus Swerve next week on Dynamite. In the main event, Adam Copeland makes Christian Cage say, "I quit," to win the TNT title by hitting Cage in the balls with Spike and threatening to hit him in the head. And that is the AEW Dynamite recap. I know it sounded like I crapped on a few things, but I really like this Dynamite.
Yeah,
go ahead. Where do you want to? There were just a few stupid things, but go ahead.
Well, Adam Copeland winning the TNT Championship. I think it's the right decision, and I think it was time that Christian Cage dropped that title. He gave it a good run. I think that he elevated that TNT Championship. He made it a title worth fighting for, and I think Adam Copeland's going to do the exact same thing for it. So, and kudos to Adam Copeland. This is his first title that he's held since he retired from wrestling in
Oh
2011.
shoot!
So because he didn't win anything back when he came back from
You're
WWE,
right.
and then apparently it was like in his contract he's not supposed to, which like, I don't believe that at all, but that's what people kept telling me. But yeah, here he is. He's won the TNT championship, and I'm excited to see what happens. And I thought it was a nice touch. They were in Toronto, and the last time he was in Toronto, he had those blue tights on when he wrestled Sheamus. And this time in Toronto, he had the blue, different shade of blue, but still a blue tights, maple leaf colors. So yeah, the match itself was it was okay. But I'm happy for Adam Copeland winning the TNT championship, and I'm curious to see what happens to Christian Cage from here.
I agree. I thought 2 80-year-olds brought it, bruv. I mean, those guys are both, collecting Social Security, and they're out here having a banger. I liked everything but the hockey shit. I thought that was stupid. I didn't like pulling out a goal and sliding him into it. I didn't like him putting
on the jersey
him that Christian then put on himself because the camera wasn't smart enough to cut away. Then they started hockey fighting. I get you're in Toronto and they like hockey, but they don't go to Chicago and start shooting hoops. So I thought it was stupid. But other than that, I thought it was fantastic. I'm still confused on where that ball shot went because it stuck. Did it get stuck in the turnbuckle? Yeah. I don't know what the hell happened, but it's a good thing they trust each other. But that spot was good. And I actually like the fact, like I said, what are you going to do? Kill him? Well, it looked like Adam Copeland was ready to kill him because he literally was about to hit him in the head with it. And he was like, hell no, I quit. I like that. I like that was a good way to quit, and Christian Cage can't hold his head down on that. Who wouldn't have quit? Yeah. If you didn't say, but everybody was handcuffed. That's why.
But he can also use it as part of his character too.
100% he can. Yeah. So
I do like that.
Yeah, but I thought it was a great night. Great way to end the show. Fantastic stuff from everybody, and Christian Cage can continue to be who he is without that belt. Let's talk about Mercedes Mone really quick. Her last promo, this was kind of the same. And I think that's what I didn't like about it. Last week, I gave it a pass because it was her first one, introducing herself. She came with like the same fire, which was no fire. And I didn't like it. I think she messed up a few words. I didn't like her rhyming herself with Monet. I don't understand Tony Khan either on why the internet is saying she went to AEW because of money. So now we're making her state that she's all about money, because that's not really a good look for a babyface or for somebody who just came to. So is she a heel?
Yeah.
Now she's kind of going at Willow. What the fudge are we? This is with Okada. Okay, this was all about the up and comers, right? Ospreay, phenomenal promo, which we'll go over. Okada winning the Continental belt. Thank you, Jeebus, because Eddie Kingston being a champion for any longer would have been a disgrace on our sport. You heard me. Eddie Kingston is a disgrace. So Okada winning was fantastic. And then Mercedes Moné. But look at Ospreay shooting to the moon. Look at Copeland, their other newest one, winning a belt. So you got Okada and Okada and Copeland winning belts. Ospreay having a great promo. Mercedes Moné, I know it's only week 2, but she's looking kind of lost, is she not? It's Okada's only like what, 4th week? He's looking like a freaking superstar, man.
Yeah,
Mercedes Moné, man. I think Tony Khan is starting to regret that $5 million a year. I'm just saying. I know it's only week 2, and I was just praising her last week, but she's not. She's looking like Sasha Banks, the person who I always thought was like a top 10 type of female wrestler. You know what I mean? Which is fine, but
yeah, that was my problem with this. Was it was too much, just like last week's promo. It did nothing to advance. It did nothing to, sell a story. Or they kind of told us on the Willow thing where Willow held up the chair and Sasha or Mercedes is like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But they could have done that without doing the promo, and they could have done that in another segment. I don't know. This promo just didn't land for me. And her playing the video clip, I do admit I admire them giving us video packages and stuff, so people who don't know who Mercedes is and they missed last week's Dynamite, you have an idea of who she is. I want them to do more of that. So there was some good with it, but I gotta say, this whole CEO thing is like, it's 2 weeks in and it's already starting to annoy me. And it's not so much the song where everyone's chanting CEO. It's her. The CEO is the biggest, is the boss around here. And as the CEO, I'm here to do this. And as the CEO, I'm going to do this. And as the CEO, just like, we get it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much CEO-ness. And it was starting to get really great on my nerves. And it's only been 2 weeks, but hopefully, I mean, we still got a long way to go. And
Yes.
I want to see her in the ring. That's what I want to see. And I got to admit, I do like that. I like that the signing still. I think it's a good signing for them. I think if they use her correctly, she can be the global superstar that she wants to be, but also she can get AEW some mainstream recognition with her time on the Mandalorian, on Disney Plus, and that kind of thing. I mean, Edge is on Percy Jackson or one of those shows on Netflix, but I feel like they can. And MJF was in the Iron Claw, but I feel like they can really capitalize on Mercedes Moné if they use her right, and they have to do it right.
Here's my thing with Mercedes. I know it's only been 2 weeks in, but that's when you're supposed to make an impact, right? She should already be, we should be saying like, oh, obviously she's making a huge impact. She just started. But the fact that we're saying that like, well, it's only been 2 weeks, let's give her, no, everybody at a job gets worse. Nobody gets better. She should already be peaking, and then she should be slowing down as she's going. She's not doing what Okada's doing, what Ospreay was doing, even what Adam Copeland was doing. She's just not doing that. And I'm not saying she's a bad signing. I'm just saying, when we talk about Rampage's main event and you see Skye Blue, you see Julia Hart, Willow, and you see who was with Willow? Why am I blanking?
Kris Statlander.
Kris Statlander. You see what those girls did? You're gonna tell me that you want to pay Mercedes Moné $5 million a year and pay them $500,000 a year? Those 4 girls did something. Mercedes Moné is not having that match. I'm sorry to break it to you. She ain't having that match. And if she delivers it, she ain't delivering it like this. Those girls went. So I'm just saying that, like, I like the signee. Maybe you should have let her go to WWE for less money. I'm just wondering if Tony Khan is regretting his decisions. They had an interview together. And it was pretty embarrassing. And it seemed like they were both being super fake. So I don't even know what. Once again, I was praising her last week because she just introduced herself, so it was perfectly fine. She looks good. She still looked good this week, but she literally opened up the show and basically did the same promo but weaker. So that's she needs to turn it around. I'm not giving up on her, like you said, but she needs to turn it around. Definitely. Okay, before you get into this, I wanted to say, I mean, we could talk about Chris Jericho, but do you want to talk about Adam Cole and Wardlow? What do you want to? What we have a few key things we could bring up before we get into this Ospreay promo.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so I was excited when Adam Cole did the promo last week, talking about Wardlow and Samoa Joe, and saying things like "you're only champion because we allowed you to be," and reading us a bedtime story where they mentioned MJF. It was just a good video package, again, telling a story, reminding us of how we got to this point. This week, Adam Cole's promo just, I don't know, it just didn't land for me, with him saying that they're disappointed in Wardlow, and but we have another goal for Wardlow, and that's to make sure that Matt Taven and Mike Bennett keep the ROH tag team championships, and that Roderick Strong keeps the international championship. That's your job now, Wardlow. Like, I don't know. Like, this just, and why is Adam Cole telling us this? Why not get Wardlow's reaction? Why not show us, like, have Renee Paquette interview Wardlow and get his thoughts on things after what Adam Cole said? Do little things like that. I feel like it's a good idea in theory, but then they don't follow up on it, and they don't ever show us any backstage segments or vignettes with these guys. It's just Adam Cole doing this one little measly promo, and again, we're back to start and stop with Wardlow. Like, where is he going to go from here? And him being the bodyguard now, it's dumb.
I agree, and the fact that this is MJF all over again. That's all I'm saying. Oh, you lost, you disgraced us, you embarrassed us. Now you're going to have to help us be champions forever. You were supposed to bring home the title to me. I mean you. It's like, what the fudge are we doing? And Chris Jericho, I said this last week, I'm going to say it again. He needs to leave AEW. He doesn't. How many times in your life have you seen Chris Jericho botch a move? He's been wrestling for 75 years. How many botches have you seen Chris Jericho? Chris Jericho had a simple toss performed where he literally messed it up and threw Hook basically on his head. It was like embarrassing. The match was slow. The ending was atrocious. I just don't know if he's getting back just out of ring shape. He doesn't care. He's not motivated because he's in a pointless thing with Hook. Chris Jericho might be top 5 all time. That match was embarrassing to watch. That not just that move where he threw Hook on his head, but I just think Jericho's done what he needed to do. First champion, brought AEW to the light, pushed tons of people, made people stars. I mean, he was really the beginning of making MJF a star in AEW. Just everything he has done. Thank you, Chris Jericho. I think it's time for him to either go behind the scenes, or if he still wants to wrestle, go to WWE, have another good year or two, and go to the Hall of Fame.
Bring the list back.
I think 100%. I think his AEW time is done. It's just they have nothing to do with him, and he looks sloppy. That was the first time ever I've seen Chris Jericho look sloppy. I was like, who? Like, I wish Patrick was on here. I want to hear what he has to say. I should text him because that's his favorite wrestler of all time. That match was pretty embarrassing. Or am I seeing it wrong? Am I being judgmental? I thought it was bad.
Yeah, I talked to a few people who live in Canada who went to this event, and they said that this was the piss break. So everybody got up during this match to, go to the bathroom and stuff. And that's
Jericho.
That's Chris Jericho. Yeah, the first, he's Canadian too, like in his home country. And yeah, they use this as the bathroom break. And that's also Hook, the guy that was Samoa Joe's first challenger, and now he's in this pointless program. So we talked about this yesterday when we were just chatting, and we didn't do an episode, but Jericho, like, stop changing your theme song every week. Just stop it. Like, go, like, it's part of your gimmick. And you made the reference of it would be like Seth Rollins, whose song is part of his gimmick, randomly going back to his old theme, or randomly coming out to the Shields music at WrestleMania. Like, the fans would shit all over it. Stop changing. Like, we get you're the Lionheart, but nobody cares about the Lionheart. I feel like people would have cared more about that match if he came out to Judas. And I know that's really weird to say, but I think it's true. I think the song is part of his character, and everybody loves that song. And you heard how that crowd was with Metalingus in Canada. Yep. They were singing Metalingus when the music went off, and Edge Adam Copeland was like, it looked like he was like shocked, and he had like chills from it. They could have done the same thing with Judas, and they probably would have done the same thing with Judas. But no, you come out to guitar riffs and boring old Lionheart music. It just, I don't know. I don't like that song either.
No, I'm a Jericho-holic. I love Jericho. I went to 4 AEW events. The first one I went to was when he was a heel and he was refusing to play his music. So he came out and like turned it off and wouldn't let people sing to it. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was so pissed off because I went to AEW to hear his damn music. That was when MJF cut the pipe bomb. I was like, I'm here for this, and I didn't hear it. And then I heard it the next 3 times. I'm like, okay, now I've heard his music live. I got to sing. So yes, taking that away is just such a people go for that reason.
Yeah.
And they're taking it away for no reason. He's a babyface. I don't understand.
Yeah, like why do you change your character every other week? Like, you were just you came out at Revolution to Judas, and then the next week you're the Lionheart. Like, why? Why? Explain to me why.
I don't think they know why. They don't know why.
They don't.
But let's But let's end this good Dynamite on a good. You ready?
Okada.
Well, Okada. Oh, you want to talk about Okada and Kingston?
Yeah,
all right, let's
just
do
real quick.
The promo. No, bro. Let's go, because it was good in my eyes. Let's go. What did you think? I know you like Kingston more than, obviously everybody likes Kingston more than I do, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Okada coming in his first match and winning the belt right away. I don't know. This is Eddie Kingston is, to me, you can say what you want about Eddie Kingston and being in the ring and his in-ring style and everything, and the way that he wrestles, but Tony Khan obviously likes the guy. Tony Khan books him strong. He just booked him to beat Bryan Danielson at Revolution, and that to me, this made him look and feel like a placeholder. Like, okay, you're only holding this belt until we get Okada, and then Okada's going to take it to the next level. Okada's going to come in and take it, and that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I thought it was a good match, and I'm curious to see what happens with it. I was also confused as to why the Continental Championship was on the line, but not the New Japan Pro or Strong Championship or the ROH title is just the Continental Classic Championship. It made that doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm gonna see what it does. I'm gonna see Okada having a title in his first match. I mean, it's a hell of a way to make an impact. But it to me, it just kind of made it would be like if Mercedes came in her first match and took the belt off of Tony Storm.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. And I even though I think Eddie Kingston is once again, good human being, I'd have a beer with him. I'd hang out with him. I'd talk wrestling with him. I just don't think he's a wrestler. I just think he's just a dude, and he doesn't do it for me. I think he's atrocious. And I think Okada has never had a bad match until Wednesday. That match was not good. How do you make Okada look bad? I'm just saying it's slow pacing. It's just not good. Now, I agree with you that Kingston, you gave him the belt. You just had him beat Bryan Danielson. Probably someone who's better. Yes, John Moxley, Danielson, who are both probably bigger than Okada right now. And you had him beat them and then lose to Okada pretty easily. Also, because then Don Callis goes on Rampage and his guys are losing. Oh, they lose again. So you just have Okada winning. It's a weird thing. But I did like that Okada won. The fireworks went off. He was like surprised because he thought it was somebody coming out. Pac was about to come out. That's why he was surprised. He like looked over it and was like, "Oh, yay." And then Pac came out and he was like, "Oh, I think he thought that was Pac's music." So he looked all mean. I guess somebody didn't give him the cue cards. But here's the thing, right? He won a title. I get it. There's 75 titles in AEW. What's the Continental title? Is that the 4th tier title? Doesn't it go World Championship? Then it goes
International.
Then TNT. No, then TNT, then International, then Continental. That's a 4th tier. WWE doesn't even 4th. That's a 4th tier title. And we're probably about to get a global championship with Mercedes Moné pretty soon. She keeps saying it. So, I mean, does it really matter that much that he's the champ? No, it's just that Tony Khan thinks that because he doesn't know anything about wrestling. He thinks championships make wrestlers. So he's just going to put titles on them. But I don't know. Let's see what it does. And now Eddie Kingston can go where he belongs, and that's the ROH, and he can go defend the ROH championship. Get off my AEW TV.
I also think the whole idea of the Continental Championship is dumb. I feel like Eddie Kingston had to win the Continental Classic, a tournament, a grueling tournament that concluded at World's End in the finals to win that Triple Crown Championship, including the Continental. So to me, like it should have just been a one-time title that he never defended, and then whoever wins the next Continental Classic wins the Continental Championship that year, and then it's
like MJF to ring.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's how I feel like it should be, but apparently not. So it's going to be defended. Tony Khan even did an interview and said that it's going to be defended every year in whoever is champion going into the Continental Classic. They will put the title up going into the Continental Classic. The champion will have the opportunity to retain it by winning the tournament. The Continental title will be defended under Continental rules for the rest of the year. No outside interference. Nobody allowed at ringside. Whoever is the champion coming out of Full Gear, they'll defend the title in the Continental Classic, and at World's End will determine who will be the Continental champion. So it's confusing.
AEW hardcores will love it though. Another tournament, another title, another Tony Khan. You're a genius. Whatever. But I'm good with. I get why you're upset that Kingston lost. I agree with that, even though how much I don't like him as a wrestler. But I think Okada's just really, really good, man. And I do not think he should have went to WWE. I don't think he would have fit in there. So I said that before. I'm on record.
You're going to put him in Chase U in WWE.
Yeah, 100% they were. I don't think Okada deserved to be in WWE. I think he's where he needs to be. I don't think anybody dropped the damn ball on any of these signings. I think Okada's good. I like that he won. I'm happy for him. I'm excited to see where this dude is. Oh, by the way, Okada, get a new finisher. Thank you. That finisher is trash, and it has not looked good once in AEW. It has looked weak and lazy. That dude could do so many moves, and he's a top 5 performer in AEW right now, and he does a pull clothesline like JBL. Get the fudge out of my face with that. That move is trash. Get a real finisher, dude. Get a real finisher, please. Thank you.
But I am curious to see where it goes. Pac seems like a good challenger for it.
That's a good first.
Said he was going to find trouble and he's going to go look for it. But again, Pac also just came back. And are you going to have like?
He's going to lose.
So what's the point of him coming back to lose? Like we're supposed to get behind Pac. We want to like Pac, but he loses all the big matches too. So I don't understand this. But
but that's what AEW does. They put people up against each other because they care about matches, not story or anything else. So it'll be a good match, dude.
Yeah. But let's get into the positive of the night, which I thought was a really good Will Ospreay.
There were a few positives, but this was the main. This was.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it, bruv.
The last time these fans saw you here in Toronto.
Well, that's dark.
Forbidden Door.
Look at him.
Classic match against Kenny Omega.
Look at them chanting, bruv.
Now we are on the
this is good stuff.
My kids hate that I say bruv. Just so you know.
A classic match. You against Bryan Danielson coming up at
I told you. Remember many moons ago we were talking about him?
Right now, last
Yeah.
time I was here,
He's that dude.
I was a little bit of a naughty boy.
I like that because he said bad words. He said the F word a couple times.
I've changed. I am here for the betterment of AEW. So I would like to stand here to you, Canada, and say I apologize for what I done last time.
His
I'm
smile,
here for the
too.
betterment of AEW. So I apologize. And I'm here to give you guys elite levels of professional wrestling, but in return, Canada, I need some of that maple syrup.
All right, Elf.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, bro.
Bruv. He created that word, right? Nobody says bruv, right?
I don't. Yeah. I've never heard
love
anybody
it.
say it.
Listen,
I want to look it
I
up.
said all I wanted to say about Bryan Danielson until I saw Collision and I watched Bryan Danielson versus Katsuyori Shibata. And my God, what a professional wrestling match. I hope all the lads study that because that's professional wrestling. But what I wanted to say is what Bryan Danielson said afterwards. Bryan, in one breath, you said he is grateful to be stepping in the ring with me, but
He's
in the other
Eminem.
breath, he said I couldn't walk in his shoes.
He's MJK, see?
And maybe, oi, give him a sec.
Oi.
Maybe he's right, because when I would go over to Japan, you know, the place where you wanted to be a big star, and there they were. And look, there they were. Guys, look, Bryan Danielson's shoes, and I couldn't believe it. And I said this, Tony, I went, there's no way I could fit in Bryan Danielson's shoes. Do you want to know why, Tony? His shoes were too small for me, bruv.
That was pretty good.
I like it. Too small for me, bruv. I like the socks over the sweats, too. I might start doing that
Bryan,
also.
what you did in Japan was great, don't get me wrong. But what I did in Japan was elevate professional wrestling. What I did was win the best of the Super Juniors twice, the junior title 3 times, openweight championships, junior heavyweight championships, and more importantly, the world heavyweight championship. Well, you get
He's
it.
a star, man.
But apparently, I can't walk in your shoes, no? Want me to prove it? All right. Katsuyori Shibata. Sashiburi desu ne. Long time no see. You know, 7 years ago, I wrestled Shibata, and I've got no problem saying it. He beat the piss out of me.
I like that line,
Would you
too.
like to know the difference between a 23-year-old, Billy, and right now, I'm a 30-year-old man. I've got 2 pugs, 3 cats, a kid, a missus, a mortgage to pay, and more importantly, a point to prove.
So good.
It was a good promo.
So next week on Dynamite, Katsuyori Shibata, meet me in this ring. Danielson, sit at home and watch and let me show you what the Billy Goat is all about.
Hey, Bryan, that's how you put it down right there, buddy.
Yeah.
That was just straight. People said that his language and the way he speaks, that people weren't going to understand him clearly in America. I understood every freaking word, his passion, his look. I'm telling you, man, he's built like a star. He looks like a star. He talks like a star. He wrestles like a star. Oh, Ospreay.
Good stuff.
I'm getting in my feelings right now. Straight man over here, vibing over Will Ospreay.
I know we just did our WWE episode, and the
Mhm.
second time hearing the Cody promo from Monday Night Raw, I didn't
hearing
like
that?
it as much. Yeah. And now the second time hearing that, I love this even more. Like it was
Mhm.
better the second time around. Because when you're watching it on TV, you miss things, but this
Yeah.
time I was paying attention to stuff, and that crowd loves him. His mannerisms, the stuff he says, that's going to be the stuff that gets him over. The bruv is going to
Mhm.
get him over.
Mhm.
The oi oi, all that stuff, that's going to get him over. Yeah, and his wrestling ability. This guy's a star, and
It is.
I know we have Okada there, and I know that we have Samoa Joe and Swerve, but watch out for Will Ospreay, because I could see him being the face of the company in a year or two.
Oh, he's dethroning Swerve at some point when Swerve
Yeah.
wins the belt, and then we'll have MJF and Ospreay. But there's just watching that again. Like you said, I loved it. Now I love it even more. I'm just there's levels to this, dude. There really are, and he's on that level, and it's a thing of beauty. Now he just needs to learn how to sell a little bit. The only thing I didn't like about it, and by selling, I mean like not
Right.
pretending like
Yeah.
nothing hurts him. I hate that shit. Like, be hurt. It's okay to be hurt. You can
Yeah.
do the fast wingy, but when certain things are supposed to hurt, let it hurt, man. That tells a story as well. I don't like that I don't like this. Anything you can do, I can do better. Don't sign if they're doing that. Let's stop it now, because there's a long way to go till this pay-per-view. I'm not doing this crap. So please, he can wrestle Shibata. That's it. I don't want to do the oh, you beat this guy? I'll beat him even better, bruv. I don't want that. I don't want that. So if you want to do Shibata, go ahead. But other than after that, let's build this feud somewhere else. And it also needs to get disrespectful. I know they're both baby faces, but is Bryan Danielson a baby face? He's in the BCC. So let's get Bryan Danielson turn a little heel. Maybe he should enter. Maybe he's watching Will Ospreay destroy Shibata, and he comes out and interferes and costs it for him and beats the crap out of him. We need some kind of story going on here for the closeout of this
Yeah,
way. It can't
we
just
need
be
something.
we're both the best. That's why they're fighting. Now let's get some heat going. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Let's give us a reason to care about this. Right now, they're doing a good job sprinkling it, and we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But let's get some, like you said, let's get the heat on.
yeah, let's go. All right, Rampage time. You ready? Which was basically the same thing as Dynamite.
Yeah,
It was 3
ran
hours.
over.
Ran over. Yeah, I did. It was when I put on my Rampage afterwards. It was still Dynamite.
Rampage
I was
was like 48 minutes long this week.
it
because
was. It was. And it felt like it. All right, let's get it going. You ready? The Bullet Club Gold is in Florida for some reason in a pool hanging out, and they taunt the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn when Jay White has Sting's bat, which he has now painted gold, and brags about breaking Darby Allin's foot. The Acclaimed instantly hit the arena, and they are upset about the betrayal against them. They make a WWE reference, and they will get revenge. Orange Cassidy and Beretta defeat Kyle Fletcher and Hobbs to make the tag team title tournament. Shibata defeats some dude in a minute. Takeshita defeats Rocky Romero, and in the main event, Julia Hart and Skye Blue defeat Willow and Statlander in a match where Statlander literally eats tacks, and people went through tables, and Hardcore was alive and well, my man. That was the Rampage recap. She ate tacks for reals.
Yeah.
Thumbtacks. Like they put them in her mouth. And the tacks are never real, right? They only stick to them because of the circles, right? They're not like
so, yeah.
They don't have points, right? I don't think they ever have. Correct?
I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think they or they're not like real metal,
Because those
or,
things would get
yeah.
in your eye, and I just don't see why they would. Oh, I've always thought it. I mean, obviously we did in ECW, but anyway, Rampage was quick, easy. Do we just want to talk about the main event? Is there anything else, or you want to talk about Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaimed? Is it?
So yeah, I do want to talk about them real quick, because
Okay.
we didn't talk about this, but Darby Allin broke his foot in the match against Jay White last week on Dynamite, and he was supposed to go climb Mount Everest this week, and now it looks like that's not happening. It may not happen at all, or maybe later on next year or something, but I feel bad for the guy, because he really wanted to do it, but maybe this was
As do I.
Yeah, but this was a sign of the from the gods, I think, that maybe you shouldn't. But at the same time, the feud with, I don't like that Bullet Club Gold has Sting's bat and they painted it gold. I think they weren't feuding with Sting. They were feuding with Darby.
Nope.
And
Yep.
the Young Bucks should have Sting's bat. and be walking around with it backstage because they were literally in the match with Sting, and they're walking around acting like that match never even happened. They're like they've been happy-go-lucky ever since because they got Okada on their team now. So I didn't care for that. And then, I did like seeing a more serious side of Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. I like that they didn't cut a rap this week and said they really cut a heartfelt promo. I don't know how I feel about them saying you should have listened to the internet and signed somewhere else.
Yeah, no thanks.
But because that's what people have been saying, that Jay White would be killing it in WWE. I don't know if he would be, honestly, because WWE is crowded. But
I agree.
I just want to know, like, is this leading to a unification match? Is this leading to obviously it's going to lead to a match between the two, but are they going to combine the ROH 6-man tag and the trios championships? Because I hope so, because we need less titles in AEW, and I feel like this is a one way to get there.
Yeah, 100% it's leading to a unification. So
I hope so.
Yeah. I don't see why it's not. With that said, I will defend the bat. I think it's only because Sting gave it to Darby, so they're not technically stealing Sting's bat. They're stealing it from Darby breaking his foot. I also don't buy in the hype that Darby had a chance to die at Everest. There's like 10 people that have ever died about it. Like, there's people that are with you the entire way. He would have survived. But I did like the fact that they did say, "We broke your foot. You should be thanking us. We saved your life." I do like that line a lot. I thought that was funny. But poor Darby, I do feel for him because he was obviously not only wanting to do this, but I'm assuming training for the past year or so to do it. So the fact that just like, but once again, bruv,
you read what you sow, man. Like,
thank
do
you.
those crazy spots.
Yeah. Why would you be that stupid right before you're gonna have to go climb Mount Everest? So it just shows, dude. Wake up.
Yeah.
Main event, like I said, these girls stole the show. I think it made Mercedes Moné look bad. I think she's over here cutting the same promos and talking about how she's a CEO, and these girls are out here eating tax and throwing each other through tables, and there was no botches. I have to say, I already knew Julia Hart was fine and amazing. I already knew Skye Blue was fine and amazing. I already knew they were that person. I'm still not sold on Kris Statlander, but I have not given enough respect to Willow Nightingale. She has yet to really have a bad match. And I don't think they should turn her heel, which it looks like they're going to do. That's like what they're hinting at, because she's like the happy-go-lucky girl. She's like Bailey, but when she was hugging, but homegirl can go, man.
Yeah,
Willow
really
Nightingale, holy shit. I'm not saying she hasn't. She's been going. I just don't know why I wasn't acknowledging it or noticing it, but I acknowledge you, Willow Nightingale. I'll acknowledge you with the dub.
Yeah.
I'll throw the dub, Willow. I acknowledge you, girl. You were doing your damn thing. This match, I'm gonna say it, was better than Christian and Adam Copeland, and that match was good too. That was a 9. This was a 10.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this? You can talk about the main event, obviously, but am I the only one who thinks it was weird that Rampage went after Dynamite? Shouldn't you have closed out on that moment with Copeland and being?
Yeah,
I thought Rampage should have went first and led into Dynamite. Then that's like Monday Night Raw having NXT go after them. Like, I don't know. I just feel like you close with your main show, not start with it. Just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair criticism, but that's just how they always do it. They have, they filmed Dynamite live and then they film Rampage right afterwards. So, but I see that point too. I think because nothing really of substance happened on Rampage. That there was no title changes, there was no real big moments. I didn't like Powerhouse Hobbs and those guys losing in the.
That's all they do.
Talk about House of Black losing the qualifying match. These guys lost that qualifying. It's so stupid. But yeah, the main event was fire. And you know what? I'm going to give some love to Kris Statlander too, because I feel like she's starting to find a character a little bit. She's starting to get more of a personality that she never really had when she was TBS champion. I think Stokely Hathaway is perfect for that little group because he's bringing out the best in them on the mic and in the ring. So I'm digging what they're doing, and I like that match. That match was fantastic. It was a good way to end the show, but I can see your point of ending it with Christian Cage or Adam Copeland beating Christian Cage to win the TNT championship. I will say,
forgot about it, man. I
Yeah.
forgot it even happened after. That was a banger of a main event. Then I was like, oh yeah, it's one.
they did.
That's right.
They did show him getting like serenaded with champagne halfway through the show. But I will say, we talked about this in the WWE episode, but the production of AEW the last couple of weeks has been really solid. I like the, talking about anything you can do, we can do better. I kind of like that, WWE is doing more of the real sports feel, so AEW is doing it too. They're showing wrestlers coming in and out of the building, and I like what they did with Renee Paquette, where she was on basically sideline reporting while Eddie Kingston was coming to the ring while his music was playing, talking about, I talked to Eddie Kingston before this match, and this is what he had to tell me. Like, I liked it. I thought it was a cool addition to make it feel more real and more realistic. So I think AEW is doing a great job with their production ever since they came back from Revolution and they changed the set and they have a new logo. I think, they're starting to look like a big time promotion now, and I hope they keep it up. They got some momentum on their side.
I agree. I know the AEW hardcore is crap on us because anything you say negative means you hate them. We don't. I want them to succeed and be here. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Great week for AEW once again. Are you ready for segment time, bruv?
Yep. And don't have music for this one, but
all right. So it is book it or lose it time with two dudes with attitudes. I just did book it or lose it on my TikTok. Oh, the days. All right. I got a lot, but we're only going to 2 each. I got to choose which ones I want to do, but go ahead. As always, Mr. Ryan enjoys wrestling. The handsome one starts it off. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to give you something easy to start with, but
what I need in my life right now. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
All right. Book it or lose it. Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné for the AEW Women's Championship at AEW All In at Wembley Stadium later this year.
Is Mercedes Moné the TBS champion?
No.
Okay. So she lost to Julia Hart. Okay, so
I think, Willow Nightingale will cost her the match. They'll have a little mini feud.
All right.
And then
she'll
climb up the ranks and get a title shot at Toni Storm.
Yeah. I say book it. Here's the thing, right? She has to be your second biggest star, right? Timeless Toni Storm right now is the biggest star. I just did an AEW ranking of the top 5, and I put Timeless at number 1. And people were very nice, actually, because I was being nice about AEW, but they did crap on me saying that was awful. I shouldn't even have Toni Storm in the top 5.
No,
I don't know how you could even. Timeless Toni Storm is carrying this company in ways, but she is. But Storm versus Moné in 70,000, 80,000. Right now they're at 55, however many they're going to have in that. Yes, book it all day, every day. That's the match to do. It's just sad because that'll be when Toni Storm loses, but that's okay because that's a little whiles away. So, and if you're talking about the CEO and money, that's the time to win it, right? The biggest stage of them all. So yeah, book it. Sign me up, Dano.
All right. You want me to do my other one?
No, I'll go. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
You ready? All right. Oh, got so many good ones. All right, let me do this one. Wardlow betrays the Undisputed Kingdom at Dynasty by teaming up with a returning MJF.
I had this one for you too. That was going to be my next one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I cut you off.
I had MJF returns and helps Wardlow, and together they take on the Undisputed Kingdom. Book it, man. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. Of Wardlow is now the bodyguard, and you said earlier it's too much like MJF. Well, maybe that's for a reason, because MJF's going to come back, and he's going to realize, he's going to be a baby face. He's going to get a huge pop. He's going to, Wardlow's going to realize that. I don't think MJF's going to help him get out of the Undisputed Kingdom, but I think Wardlow's going to do that on his own. And then MJF's going to return and help him in like a match or something. And then it's going to be a game of whether or not MJF and Wardlow can trust each other, but they're going to end up trusting each other and helping each other take out the Undisputed Kingdom. So yes, book it all day long. The pop that would get would be fantastic. Do it at Wembley too. Oh man.
Okay. Save it for that. Yeah, whatever. I'm good with it. Yeah, I agree. All right.
Oh man. Now I got to find another one.
Let's go, bruv. That's why you always got to write down more than 2.
I know. I have a couple written down here. Okay. All right. Speaking of bruv. All right. Will Ospreay will dethrone Swerve Strickland as the next. After Swerve beats Samoa Joe at Dynasty, Will Ospreay will beat Swerve Strickland at Wembley in his home country to win the AEW World Title. Book it or lose it.
How many months apart is it? So April is
8,
Dynasty.
August is the 8th month, so 4.
Oh, only 4-month title reign for Swerve. First ever African American champion. Samoa Joe's only had it for a few months. You know what? I say book it, man. I say book it. I think giving Swerve the title in itself is amazing when Swerve literally got fired from WWE because they thought he was irrelevant in their business. And the fact that he came over and has became maybe the number one male superstar right now in all of AEW. But Will winning it, Ospreay, I think he needs to. And imagine that match. There's one thing Swerve Strickland can do. That's be a chameleon. He can wrestle in any aspect that he needs to wrestle in.
He could wrestle a mop and it would be a fantastic match.
100%. And he'll mop the floor better than the mop. Literally, he'll figure it out. This dude is unstoppable. Yeah, him and Will Ospreay. Oh yeah, and I want like a few matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't just want one. I want them to have a trilogy or something. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I say book it too. Yeah, I want to see it.
All right, here's a confusing one. You ready?
Yeah,
it's non-wrestler related. All right. Okay. With what happened this week, we have 3 shows. We have a Saturday show. We have a Friday Rampage. We have Collision. They always get moved around. Let's just say, I say book it or lose it. Let's move Collision to Fridays. Keep it 2 hours. Getting rid of Rampage and making Dynamite 3 hours every single week on Wednesday. Book it or lose it.
Book it. I think, yeah. I thought this week was fun in AEW.
Thank you.
I know we complain about Raw being too long with 3 hours, but this week, for whatever reason, maybe it's because we're not used to it, but and if it happens weekly, maybe we would get bored, but it went by quick. It flew by.
It did.
Next thing you know, I was looking at my clock and it was 9:49, and I'm like, man, there's only 10 minutes left of this Dynamite. But I'm like, wait, there's a whole hour of Rampage left. And Rampage flew by, and a lot went down on that episode too. So, yeah, I say book it because we got to see a lot more of the AEW roster on Rampage. We got to see a lot more of the AEW roster on Dynamite. We got to see, people that we never see on Collision. How often do we see Lance Archer on TV, and how often do we see the infantry on TV, and how often do we see, all these people that we normally don't see, and I think the fact that there's no Collision this week because of the basketball tournament. I mean, AEW's booking themselves into a corner by having that show on Saturday. And I think moving it to Friday is the perfect spot, and keep it live. Don't do pre-taped or anything. Don't film it right after Dynamite. I think keeping it live and doing it from 10 to 12 on Friday night, right after SmackDown, I think it would be a good spot for Collision.
And I say keep it after SmackDown. Don't try to compete. Let people have 4 hours of wrestling. I think
maybe do like 9 to 11, so you're competing with that last hour of Smack. I don't know, but because 10 to 12 seems kind of late, but
not for me because it's on.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah,
but if I'm watching it out here, it would be earlier.
But on the East Coast, it feels like it would be 10 to 12. Just feels really late, but they can make it work.
Yeah, we can figure it out. But yeah, and I only say that because what other time will we move it on? I mean, maybe they can move it to Thursday, but then Thursday is awkward. So, but they need to get it off Saturday.
AEW when Raw moves to Netflix.
They could move Dynamite to Wednesday and then Collision to or Dynamite to Monday and Collision to Wednesday. That would work. Yeah, for sure. But we'll see. But I think they need to do 2, and I think they need to do a brand split. That's just my
100%.
I think they need to be a Dynamite and a Collision crew. Yeah. So, all right, book it or lose it. That was it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We did it. Excuse me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking out our AEW edition. We've been so much more positive lately, y'all. That's what happens when you put on good product.
Good shows.
We praise it, man. We praise it. As always, if you want to see, listen, hear me, subscribe to me at HBD Denton at all social media outlets. Yeah, man, I'm putting it out. Well, Ryan will talk about us and himself, but we're constantly putting out all of our product, trying to get bigger. As Ryan will say, 2024 will be our year. I'm the Heartbreak Dude, and with me, as always, is the man with the plan,
Ryan enjoys wrestling. Go follow us on TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. Go follow us on X at 2 Dudes PC. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're over 720 now, so we want to get to 1,000 by WrestleMania. It's pretty lofty, but we can make it happen. And then if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, or Google, or anywhere you get your audio podcast, leave us a 5-star rating and review if you like what you hear and what we have to say. It just helps, get our name out there a little bit more. But like we said, 2024 is going to be the year of the dudes, and we appreciate all the love and support we're getting.
Let's go. 2 Dudes Attitude Wolfpack. We out.
2 dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the 2 dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. With Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the 2 dudes with the attitudes will bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.